Hello, every single body who's watching this video right now. Today we're gonna start a new series in this channel, one that I'm very excited to start, that is our saga in the world of RimWorld. And I'm talking way too much, so my name is Lucas Highland, and without any further ado, let's get started. For those who don't know, RimWorld is a game where you play as a colony. There are different ways to play the game, different modes, and the one we are gonna play is the crashed ship. So we start with a colony of 3 people who fell from a spaceship in a very dangerous planet. After generating the world, the first thing that we have to do is to pick where our ship is gonna land. I was looking for a region that's close to some allies or people who are not trying to kill us all the time, that has some mountains so we can mine, and that has a comfortable temperature that's not too hot and not too cold in the winter, because we have seasons here too. Because temperature in this game can kill very easily, mainly on the beginning of the game. I was just looking around and this place that I found was a little too close to other colonies, so even though they are not our enemies, it can be a disadvantage because there are some limitations on being too close of other colonies. So I didn't choose this one. Now this was the perfect spot. It's very close to a colony that won't try to kill us all the time. It has some mountains, it's close to many things, so very cool, very good location. Let's see what's next. Now, one of the best parts of this beginning of this game, we need to choose our colonies, our characters. I don't know if colonies is the right word. One thing that I see lots of people doing on the beginning of this game when they choose the character is to randomize until a good one appears. But I don't like this approach, because this way everything is gonna be too easy. So a rule that I set to myself every single time that I start playing this game, at least in the standard way, is that I can choose only from the initial list. So if all of these characters are terrible, I will accept the terrible characters, because the best part of this game is the storytelling that's gonna happen. So for a good game to happen, it's not only the skills and the traits, diseases and so on that the character is super good, but how interesting these characters can make this story become. So I won't go too much in detail about the characters that ended up here. I will only talk a little bit about the 3 main characters of our saga. By the way, the only thing that I like to change normally is the names of the characters, because sometimes they are a little too difficult to pronounce, and also I love to make fun names. Normally in the beginning of the game there are 3 things that are super important. To have at least 2 people who are able to shoot to defend our base, 1 person who's able to grow plants because it's the main source of food, mainly on the beginning of the game. I never got actually too far in the game, so until the place I went the previous times I played the game, growing plants were one of the most important things in the game. If our plants get in trouble, the whole colony gets in trouble. Now I think it's a good time to say that I'm probably not the best player of this game. And we also have to have a person who's good at cooking and another one in crafting. These are the essentials that will make sure that your characters don't die. It's also important to have medical skills that you will see soon enough that I made a wrong choice about it. So this is our first character, Henry McDaniel. Such a cool name. Super dope. He's a very handsome 50-year-old guy who's excellent at shooting and also fighting in close range with melee weapons. He's also capable of mining, cooking is also very good, and there are other good things about this character. One of the bad things about Henry is that he's incapable of caring, so he cannot assist people who need medical help. And also he's a huge antisocial person, so he won't talk to visitors, he won't try to convert prisoners to people that belongs to our colony. Welcome, Henry McDaniel. Guy that's beautiful and have a good, excellent name. The next character, please welcome Dennis Gummas. That I don't like this name for this character, so we will change it because Dennis doesn't fit his face. He is a 67-year-old man who's very good on construction. He's also very good at mining and melee fighting. He's able to do all the tasks, which is great for a character, but here's where the story starts to get interesting. He is a cannibal, but What are the name that we are gonna give Dennis, because I don't like this name. Once one of the main reasons why I picked this guy over all the other characters that ended up not being chosen is his skill of construction. So his name, are you prepared? Are you prepared? Bob the Maker. Welcome to our colony, your beautiful, handsome guy, Bob the Maker. And one very cool thing about Bob is that he is a cannibal and he has a son, and his son is called Hannibal. I don't know if this is coded on the game or not, but it's very, very cool. Mainly if this is a coincidence. And another very cool thing is that the third character on our starting colony is actually his son himself, Hannibal Maker. And I chose Hannibal for a simple reason, because Hannibal Maker is the only character that's able to plant among the others. I mean, it's the best at planting. The only character in this list that's actually better than him at planting is Bob, but Bob is already assigned to construction. So for the beginning of this campaign, Hannibal is gonna be our farmer or whatever, the person responsible for the plants. And just like this, we started our adventure with Henry, Bob, and Hannibal. They fell from the sky, and the first thing that I did was looking around to see if there was any kind of advanced danger that can happen on this game around this map. Fortunately, there were not. They're not aliens, huge insects or something like this. The only problem is a grizzly bear, but I think we can deal with that. The irony of the son of a cannibal being the person responsible for the plants. After looking around just to check the map, the first thing that I did was to order them to pick the equipment, because it's super important on the beginning for them to be prepared for any kinds of dangers. Also in the beginning, it's important to have a hunter. That's why our hero, Henry, is here to help us. Now, the next thing that we need urgently is a shelter. The characters in this game have their own wills, so you don't control a specific character. You tell them to do something and they will do the things on their pace. They will choose what they will do first and so on. You can order them to prioritize a few things, but normally this doesn't work so well. And the first thing that we need is a shelter. We need beds so they don't sleep on the ground and they don't sleep outside. Both of these things are very important, because otherwise they will get bad moods, and colonists with bad moods can be very dangerous, because we need all of them to make this happen, because otherwise we won't get enough food, construction, we won't be prepared for raids and so on. So the first things, order Bob to build our first shelter. Fortunately, I saw this old structure that was laying around, so we can use this as a base. So we don't need to build all the walls and save some time on the beginning. And just like that, I like squared buildings in this game, not only in Minecraft. I built 3 beds, and I was going to destroy this table here, but I think that's not a good idea. I prefer to repair it and use it as our main dining table, because they also hate to eat on the floor or eat without a table. It's not practical. I think I don't like this either. Fortunately, on the beginning of the game, we start with a few packed food. That's these yellow things on the ground. And I built some chairs too, so we can eat on a table and improve the moods of our colonists a little bit. The next thing I did was to define the priorities. We can define how important it is to each of the colonists to do things. Of course, the essential things like firefighting and not walking around or doing their stuff while they are sick is very important. So these things are the most important priorities. So of course, as I told you before, Bob is the one that's gonna start by building, and probably he will be our builder, Bob the Builder or Bob the Maker. Henry is gonna cook and hunt right on the beginning, and Hannibal is gonna grow plants. With that all set, our journey started. But as Hannibal is gonna grow, he needs places to grow the plants. So let's look for the most fertilized places that are close to our base. There's not too many places that are very, very fertile, but middle, this light green thing will work instead of this vivid green. That's the best places to plant. So now let's determine the sizes of our crops, or the places where we are gonna plant our plants. And now let's set what type of plant. So let's start with a potato plant, or potato, whatever. These sizes of growing zones are too small, so let's increase it just a little bit, and now we can create the other ones. Now with the size correctly set, I'm gonna start to grow heal root. That's very important to create medicine, that if one of our colonists get sick or hurt, we can use the heal root product, the medicine created with it, to heal and to solve our problems. But when I chose this, I forgot to see that Hannibal needed at least 8 of growing to be able to grow these specific plant. So no heal roots, and this is a huge problem because our medicine in the beginning of the game is very limited, and we can get out of medicine very quickly depending on how things go. It's such a cool beginning, and I had to adjust the area of the growing zone because I chose a smaller one for the heal roots, because heal roots are difficult to plant. So as they take too long to plant, I reserved a smaller growing zone to this. So let's readjust to give it another function. But now at least I see that we have some wild heal roots that we can harvest. So let's just set this to harvest all the heal roots that are close to our base. And also set the dumpster, because there are too many things that can be very harmful for the mood of our colonists, that we can order them to haul it far away from our base. Do you see these rocks here on the way? Normally there are lots of them in our bases in the beginning, and as them decrease the beauty of our base, this normally has a negative effect on our colonists' mood. So moving them to this dumpster here is a very good idea. So let's determine them as fast as we can. Also corpses and so on, trash in general. You see here I selected all of them and ordered them to haul it. Now Bob is building the chairs just so we can eat on the table. Nobody eats inside of a table, Lucas. Come on, Bob, build these chairs. Now let's order them to chop some trees, because we will need more wood than what we already have to build our first shelter. And we need to spend our first day inside of our shelter. This is our main first quest. Why the hell Bob's already sleeping? He has lots of things to do, and he's sleeping already. What the hell is he doing? Oh god, he's sick. Carcinoma, major growing. Oh no. I don't know how bad this is in this game, but I wish it is not too problematic, because if he dies, we will only have 2 colonists. And this is terrible. All right, so let's just let Hannibal treat Bob so he can get back to his deal, because even though he's sick, he will need to keep building, because otherwise this game won't go further. Also have a dog. I just noticed now. Let's continue building our shelter. And now finally we have all 3 beds, so none of our colonists will ever sleep on the ground, which is great news. Yes, they are already eating on a table, which is great, and everything is going very well apart from Bob's carcinoma. Oh, look at the 3 of them sleeping in their shelter, very safe and secure. Although we still don't have a roof, they are sleeping outside, but outside inside of their structure. So it's not that bad of a beginning. It could be better. Of course it could be better, but let's not complain, because this is very good. The only person, or the only entity sleeping on the ground right now is our dog, that I still don't know how I'm gonna call it. And there's just 1 square missing for us to complete our building, our shelter, our initial shelter. And Bob, this guy is a machine. As soon as he wakes up, before even taking his first meal of the day, he's building the roof of our shelter. Very good, Bob. Very good. Let's just reshape the structure of the shelter too, just to make it a little more spaceful. Don't know if this is a word. Destroy these walls, build the outside walls. And now let's define a floor, because we don't want to sleep in the dirt, of course. So let's just set a few awesome, marvelous wooden floor. Things are beginning to get a shape. Let's set some doors in the right places. I also already defined the 3 types of plants that we are gonna grow. We are gonna grow potatoes, we are gonna grow rice, and we are gonna grow cotton so we can use carpets, create carpets in the future. And of course, Hannibal is a very smart guy. And yes, he will need food very soon to survive, but he chose to start by planting cotton. So yeah, what a dumb guy. He's just growing the things on the wrong order. But you can grow things on the right order yourself. Do you know how to? By growing my subscription base. And terrible segue. But yeah, if you are enjoying this first episode of our RimWorld Saga, the adventure of Hannibal, Bob, and Henry, don't forget to subscribe and to drop a like in this video. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the story. Just making some adjustments here on the shelter, because this shelter is gonna be the skeleton, the beginning of our base that's gonna expand from here. Let's finish to put the floors. And now we have our shelter completed. And now I'm planning the construction of the rest of our base. And I think this is it for the first episode. In this episode, Hannibal, Bob, and Henry started their adventure. They fell from space, built a small shelter, and planned their final and ultimate base where they're gonna dominate the world. No, I don't know if they are gonna dominate the world, but they're gonna try to dominate the world. We started growing a few plants to help us in our survival, and so far, everything is going very well. Thank you so much for being with me for the first episode of our saga of RimWorld. And if you want to continue watching the saga of Hannibal, Bob, and Henry, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Lucas Highland, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to watch another video made by me, where I ask ChatGPT which one is the best gaming console in the world, click this other video right here. Thank you so much again, I'm Lucas Highland, and see you in the next video.